is a workshop to talk about water and sewer rates, and I see by the audience that we have a lot more people than we normally have, so I presume that a lot of y'all are here for that purpose. We're not going to let you talk during this part. This is a workshop for us to get information and input. We will then bring this up as an item on our regular meeting for action. So I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on. Okay? All right. Let's go back.
All right. At the board's last meeting, it was requested that staff explore alternatives for rate structures for water and sewer rates in Effingham County. Staff compiled these alternative rate structures based on market analysis to see where our new, old, and alternative rate structures would compare with what other water and sewer customers are paying for services on other systems. With this research, it's important to understand that the approach to costing our services, comparing market rates, are beneficial to see what the market will bear in terms of rates. However, this type of analysis does not consider all facets of the service, such as whether water is provided from groundwater or treated surface water, the age, capacity, capital cost recovery, operation, and maintenance costs. There are numerous systems and options that we could choose from for our comparison sake, and this exercise is purely a numbers game, and any and all changes will affect those numbers. Effingham County's water system is large and operating well below maximum capacity. As more users come on board, its self-sufficiency should improve. Current rates do not cover the cost of operations, maintenance, and debt service. The funding gap is subsidized by the special tax district, and our water system has a debt service of approximately $2.2 million per year. Staff and the board all understand, I believe, that it is completely unreasonable to charge our current users a rate large enough to cover the county's operations and debt service. The next slide is basically a dollars and cents comparison of our pre-May 6th old water and sewer rates compared to our post-May 6th water and sewer rates. Here you'll see that our base rates went from $15 and $10 to $30 and $20. That final column row down at the bottom is the increase of. That is the difference for water and sewer customers. So whereas a water and sewer customer pre-May 6 would have paid $29.90 for 1,000 gallons of water and sewer service, that same customer would now pay $57 for water and sewer, which is an increase of $27.10. Any questions?
The average user is approximately 7,000 gallons, is that correct?
Our averages vary, obviously, with the season. For comparison's sake, we did use 7,000 gallons as we could use a third-party independent report. I believe our annual average is around 7,000.
That's the state base average, 7,000 for a household.
Take your word for it. Now that we see those effects of that rate increase, let's take a look at what other systems are operating at in our area, general geographic area. This comparison was done at 7,000 gallons per month for comparison's sake, and it allows staff to use a consistent comparison using the University of North Carolina 2013 rate analysis, so that all rates are reported are from a uniform third-party report. As you can see, the rates vary greatly, from the lowest of $39.50 in Brooklyn to over $100. Again, the final column in bold shows the combined for water and sewer service in those areas. In this next slide, we average the results of our findings. The first average is of all systems sampled, which presents an average of $60.76. Then we average all systems operating in Effingham County, including Lakeside and Consolidated, which are private water providers, which returned an average of $62.37. Next, we averaged just our government providers using the inside and outside city rates, which provided an average of $56.37. Our next average shows the outside rates only at $65.95, followed by the inside city only rates at $52.62. We then did an average dropping the highest and lowest to at an average of $55.75, and then we averaged the averages just above. You can see on this slide that we've got Effingham County's old rate at $60.30 and Effingham County's new rate at $103. With these averages, staff attempted to be as thorough as possible by including inside and outside city rates and each separately for a true comparison. Staff then looked at some other system comparisons, like is irrigation water charged at the same rate as drinking water? And across our sample size, the irrigation rates are the same for drinking water. As you can see, a majority of the systems do charge a different rate for water and sewer for commercial and residential. This next slide shows the deposit comparisons between Effingham County and our sample area. As you can see, Effingham's deposit is the highest among the systems sampled. This rate was increased on May 6th. The average, which is not shown of this sample, is right at $100. It's $99 and change.
What was our deposit prior to May 6th?
I believe it was $100.
125.
So now we're going to get into the two options that the alternative rate structure that we came up with for you today. And now that we've seen what those other services providers are charging, staff prepared two alternative structures, both of which start from the old residential base rates as they were prior to May 6th. There are countless permutations available for possible rate structures, and these are but two options that we'll discuss this evening. We do have a spreadsheet which we can show you the increase for any amount in short order if the board so desires to try any additional options. But for these two options that we'll be reviewing next, base rates and tier rates were all started from the old rates, pre-May 6th. And the base rates for both option 1 and option 2 have not changed. They have remained for option 1 and 2 at the old pre-May 6 rate of $10 and $15. Commercial $25. Okay? Rate option 1 is pretty simple. It just merely passes on the rate increase from the city of Savannah, which is 16 cents. In this option, the old base rates remain at 15 for sewer and 10 for water, and 16 cents was added to each water tier rate. Therefore, an increase per 1,000 gallons of water used is only 16 cents. At 7,000 gallons per month, 7,000 gallons of water usage, the bill increase would be $1.12. At 12,000 gallons, the bill increase would be $1.92. And at 30,000 gallons, the bill increase would be $4.80, or 2.468%. There would be no increase in the sewer rates or billing, as these rates would revert back to their pre-May 6th rates in this option 1. Any questions on that slide? We tried to show you a per 1,000 gallon comparison.
So this is rolling back to where we were, and basically adding nothing more than what Savannah's increase was to our payment.
That is exactly correct. There's some points to consider here. It just passes on the Savannah water increase of 16 cents. We then place this rate option against our averages from the other systems that we sampled. And using these rates, Effingham County water and sewer customers would be paying $61.42 for 7,000 gallons of water and sewer service. This rate structure puts us above the average of almost all of our averages, except all the systems operating in Effingham County, which include Lakeside and Consolidated, and outside city rates only. The amount of subsidy to water and sewer from the special tax district would remain unchanged. Option 2 adds 35 cents to each tier for water and sewer, which more than covers the Savannah rate increase. Again, the base rates remain unchanged. This rate was chosen completely at random, and the structure could include any figure above 16 cents and still cover the rate increase from the city of Savannah. The thought process behind this option is to illustrate the difference rate increases have monetarily to bills for service. As you can see, at 7,000 gallons per month for water and sewer service, the bill increase would increase by $4.90. At 12,000 gallons of water consumed per month, the bill increase would be $8.40. And at 30,000 gallons, the bill would increase by $21 or 10.797%. Any questions? Okay. Again, on this slide, you can see where the 6520 fits in with our falls amongst our average sample above all, as you can see. And however, this type of increase would decrease the amount of subsidy provided to water and sewer by the special tax district. By moving water and sewer rates above the Savannah rate increase, the board may be able to prolong the time in between rate increases. We then wanted to do a large volume comparison for residential use. Here you can see if the user is higher than average using option 1, the rate increase would be $4.80 for 30,000 gallons, or 2.468%. And at 10,000 gallons it is at, while option 2, you can see that it is a $7 increase, but a 9.150% increase. Do we then apply the same to our commercial users? We just apply the same two options, adding 16 cents in option 1 and adding 35 cents to both water and sewer in option 2 for our commercial customers. And there you can see those percentage increases as well. On this slide, we sought to illustrate a side-by-side comparison between option 1 and 2, which shows exactly what the rate structure for water and sewer rates would be if option 1 or 2 were chosen. You'd be able to see the comparison there. In option 1, the rate for tier 1 water would go from $2.28 per 1,000 gallons to $2.44. You can see on the same for option 2, $2.28 becomes $2.63. Very first top graph, you'll be able to see what the bills are pre-May 6th, what the bills were post-May 6th, and then you'll be able to see what the bills were with option 1 and 2. These are the two options. There's others that could be tried or employed for your consideration. Rates vary by water and sewer suppliers, and water and sewer consumption vary by user and by season. Both rate structures shown cover our increase to the city of Savannah. Rate options can be applied to commercial customers as well in the exact same methodology. And I would also like to point out that if the board decides to change any rates today, a decision would need to be made as to whether the rates will be retroactive, effective immediately for August billing cycle, and when to apply the late fees.
Back up one slide. I want to make sure the people in the audience understand the average rate at the top was 7,000 gallons. Under the old rate structure was $60.30. After that vote we took with the other rate, it took up to $103. That's the reason most of you are here today. Option 1 is going to bring us back down to $61.42, and option 2 will be $65.20. Either way, there's going to be a dramatic decrease in the water bill.
We also extrapolated that out. You can see if you were to go with option 1, the increase of $12, which we saw on the previous slide, is just over $2, just under $2. And you can see with option 2, the rate increase is just under $8, just over $8, even at the 12,000 gallons.
So in both scenarios, you're going back to the same old base rate.
Old base rates and the old tier rates when we started from there. So finally on that next slide, in addition to an answer as to when these new rates, if they're adopted, are employed, we would need to make a determination on when those rates are effective. Do we need to send a notice with the new bills when they get sent, saying that the bills have been adjusted or the rates have changed? And then when do we apply late penalties for retroactive bills if that is employed? And then finally, several other water-related and sewer-related items have surfaced during our research and discussions with the board, each requiring the board's input. And all would need to come back before the board either in the form of ordinance amendment changes or policy changes. These would include the use of irrigation meters, filling swimming pools, and addressing concerns over plumbing and water leaks. That way we have a clear and concise policy of what to do if somebody claims a plumbing leak, what to do if somebody needs water filled in the swimming pool. Obviously that's not going to sewer, or if somebody wants to use the irrigation.
Back to the deposits. What slide that was, what it was prepared.
I'm trying to look like they go back to the old copy.
Yeah, I just wanted to see where they were.
And as we said, this is a small sample. If you would add another one, it would change the numbers. If you would take one away, it would change the numbers. If you were to add any number above 16 cents, there's a different permutation, different cost, calculated all through. We have a spreadsheet if you'd like to play with the numbers. If not, we'll entertain any questions or comments.
You're done with this,
That's right.
I personally want to make a statement as representing my own district, and I can only speak for myself, but my district does have the largest majority of water and sewer customers in the county, probably at least 75% of the users are in the district. And what I'd like to say tonight is from my perspective, and I wrote it down so that I would miss these points because to me there's a lot of points that I want to be sure I make. During the downturn of the economy, I fought and advocated for not increasing water rates at all. I believe one year we matched what the Savannah charge had done, but prior to that we just did not raise anything at all. So by the time we got to this year, I think there was an understanding that we probably needed to at least do some kind of catch up to what Savannah had been charging and kind of had an intent of going in that direction. So we understood we needed to make some kind of adjustment. Only speaking for myself in my position, I agree that needed to happen, but I did not intend or understand, and I should have, the significance of the adjustment that we were making. It turned out to be greater than the way I understood it. As soon as I was aware of how it was significantly impacting the citizens' bills from the input that I was receiving, I asked it to be put on the agenda for a revote. And in short, I take responsibility for my part and what I consider to be an error in how we handled it. I believe we have learned some lessons from some miscommunication that we had and how to correct that in the past, because we want to catch these kind of things not after they get to you, but before they get to you. We don't want to have this kind of confusion. And just for you to be aware, because I know you're here for possibly at 5 o'clock you're going to want to speak, but so that you would at least know my position, that I plan on trying to make a recommendation that we go back to the old rate. It'll be, it's one of our options. We have two options in our book at 5 o'clock. Option one is to go back to our old rate plus 16 cents. Only 16 cents, and that is the money necessary to catch up to what Savannah has increased their charge to us. Also, to make that retroactive for the 2 months that have been much larger than I think most of us anticipated, and credit your bills for those 2 months so that you get that back to what this new charge would be, only the 16 cents. Also take the deposits back to the original deposit amount because we're already higher than most places. And go back to our base rate. So the only change, if that is suitable to the majority when we vote, as far as what I'm recommending, would be the 16-cent increase. And late penalties and anything like that. So I want that on the record as far as maybe that might take care of some concerns so every person here didn't feel like they had to speak so that we'd understand. Because I feel like the majority of us do have a good understanding of that we overreached much more than we anticipated and meant to do. And I'm just speaking for myself, but if anybody feels differently, they can certainly speak up.
Joanna, do you have the record as to when the board voted to raise the rate?
I think it was May 6th. I think it was May 6th. I know it was the first meeting in May.
We can check the agenda real quick like that. I believe that's correct.
It was 2 weeks before the election.
And when did the rates go into effect?
We actually did the rates on the first billing thereafter, which would have been the June 4th, 5th billing.
So
2 months.
the citizens on the system got to notice their rates was going up at the same time that they got the bill.
We normally, when we usually do this, and I apologize for the fact that I was not down here at the time, but when we usually do this, we usually put it into effect, and then we turn around and send a notice. We do so effective in the future, and this was effective as of that time, so it came the very next billing, which made no time for notice.
Okay. That is definitely, I think, a mistake. I mean, if we were going up on rates, the notice should have been given and then have at least a month to be given notice before the rate went up. So I would definitely agree put it back. The old rates need to at least be in effect back as far as May 6th. Right?
The old pre-auction one?
The old pre-auction one needs to be, the citizens never should have gotten a bill for something that they had no notice that was coming down the pipe. That's,
They would have had an opportunity to adjust and maybe not use their sprinklers as much or whatever.
that's correct. Now, is it also my understanding, this board gave direction that nobody's bill for non-payment, that their service was not to be turned on? As long as they're old,
That's
whatever
correct.
they would have been paying under the old rates.
We
they've been
issued
paying.
no disconnects, we issued no late charges on
Okay.
these, because it was very difficult to determine what was prior to and after. So based on your direction to me, when the question was asked of this board, we issued no disconnects, we issued no late payments.
Okay, so the June bill went out at the higher rate,
That's correct.
And also July,
and July has gone out at the higher rate.
That's correct.
2 months of bill.
Okay.
Yes.
We actually tried to call a special call meeting to try to stop the June, July bill. We were able, so many people on vacation were able to put that together. We realized very quickly the mistake that was made.
Well, we have had people come in and give us studies on rates and this type thing. There is no way that we can ever charge enough to recover our operating costs. Now, there's other factors in this that we could debate and go back into power plants and what it generates. There's a lot of things in this scenario, but to take all of that out of the equation to simply the rate that we charge the citizens on the number of customers that we have on the system, there is nobody that can pay that kind of rates. So what we were trying to do was to recover some of our costs, because for the people who are using the service and paying a lower than what it needs to be, then the rest of the taxpayers of this county is having to supplement it in some way, shape, fashion, or form. So the question is, what do you charge in order to be equitable to all citizens? Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Floyd both represent the majority of our customers between the two of them. I think that would be a fair statement, with Commissioner Jones representing the majority of those. So politically, this is not good for them, and I totally understand that. They've taken a lot of heat, as has our staff. So the question is, what do we do to be fair and equitable to all citizens of the county? Commissioner Jones made a statement, and I heard from another commissioner today that wants to go to the 16-cent rate. If we do that, then technically we're charging less than what we were before. Because you have no cost of living, you have no cost increases that our system continues to have. So if we simply charge the 16-cent rate increase, basically, it's my feeling that that would not be fair to the rest of the citizens of this county. That's my opinion.
My position is, this county took on that as a county to try to grow the county. It breaks in the south end of the county. Now, this was prior leadership that made these decisions. And we're not gonna, I can't put the burden on these people for a decision made 10 years ago.
And when you get ready right down to it, I mean, if you do understand all those facts, the money, all of the money that was borrowed could have never been borrowed if, when they made loan application to GEVA, they wouldn't have included all the building permits from the entire county and made the entire county the service district. If they would have only made our area the service district, we wouldn't have this big debt and we wouldn't be in this situation. But those commissioners prior to us made that decision, borrowed that money, and if you read all the documents, while these people are the users of the water and sewer systems, sewer was also built for the environmental benefit of Effingham County, all residents. And the water also services our public school system. All those front lines will run to our school systems, which service many of the students, not only just at residence, but many of these other family members that we're talking about as well. So it's bigger than just that scenario.
I understand.
Mr. Chairman, you said go back to old rate and go to 16%, which we have to pay. How it went up that much? What would be something that would work that was a little more than 16%?
16%, not percent, but
Has
cent.
anybody got that?
Staff just presented us with a scenario of 35 cents, which is,
The 3,500, but as Adam said, we have a spreadsheet. We can plug any number you would like to see, that if you would like to see any other number.
We do have funds, it might be important, it might be important to recognize that we do have funds coming from the special service district that help subsidize this, so it's not coming just from taxpayer property. And are the impact fees not going towards it at all? Yes or no? Does impact fee money go towards this at all?
cost.
We no longer collect impact fees, we do cost recovery, yes, that goes directly into the water sewer account, which then pays debt service.
Okay, so we also have a significant amount of money coming in there, so that it's offsetting from the property tax. So we do know whether we make it 16 cent or 35 cent or 59 cent, or we're so far away from where we need to be on the debt. To overburden these citizens when we see where these things compare. And we don't have a lot of comparisons on here that are like coastal water and so many others that are around that are even lower that would show us an even lower average. So, you know, that would definitely be my position well stated, and I feel like the evidence supports that that's a reasonable thing.
The reason for the deposit, Joanna, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason the deposit was raised, I think, was at your recommendation because of the number of services that we were having to eat.
Yes, sir. We have a significant turnover in what we see, and many times, because we are very gracious as far as cutoff times, we actually are billing and then allow about 15 days for the cutoff times, and by that time, a lot of people have already moved out. Part of my recommendation, though the rates were not necessarily, was on the deposits from the standpoint of being able to increase those some. I don't know that we necessarily need to increase them as much as we did. I advocated more from the standpoint of once we saw an issue with a particular customer, then increasing those deposits based off of the issues with that particular customer. In other words, increasing their deposit should they be late more than a couple of times.
A new customer coming on the system, though, we're much higher.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's something that we can look at in the future about tweaking that part of
That
it.
piece of it.
Because we have so much to deal with tonight, I'm in favor of taking all that backwards. And just for the point I'll just make of dealing with political heat, I personally attempt to make my decisions based on what I think is right and wrong. And I think that I've shown if anybody can stand up to political heat, I get the political heat, so I don't have a problem with that. I'm gonna try to do what I think is right or wrong either way.
Where's the break-even point on what? Well, I know it's not going to break even with the total debt service for the year, but I know we had increases from City of Savannah that we were covering, and then we finally caught it back up. Are we at that level now to where the per gallon, per 1,000 gallon rate is equal to what we're paying City of Savannah?
The 16 cents is what it would take to break
that the
even
number?
and catch up. Is that correct?
That's what they're telling us, is a 16 cent that catches up with the
So 16 cent per 1,000 gallons of water above the old rate is where it would be, to where we're passing along the charge from City of Savannah.
Now, that is slightly above the rate we pay the city, but I understand what you're asking. You're not asking that we set our rates exactly.
I was wanting what the break, where it would be.
That will cover,
Break.
that will cover our part.
Based upon the old rate, that would cover the increases that we have received over the last 3 years.
So we carried it for a year or two.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is with the cost of, yeah, with the cost of, we've given pay raises, we've given, health insurance. When you figure the cost associated with the system, if you only raise 16 cents to cover the cost of the water increase, you have backed up on your rates.
We get pay raises and everything, but we kept our budget the same. We didn't increase our overall budget. I feel we can catch up on people's water bill. Personally.
That's only 1,000 customers overall, more people in this county. Again,
It's just my position.
All right, anybody got any more questions?
And one other thing, on the state tier, the tier that we're mandated to have, is there any percentages or rates, or how is that calculated? Is there, because it seems to me like obviously with what happened, everybody was affected very significantly. But I know that in the 12,000 gallon and up, the 40, 50,000 gallon users that are basically wasting water for just for landscaping and such, I would think that tier, whatever we do, that tier should be not what we did, but somewhere between. So that's what I'm wondering is, would it be smart to, if we go to one of these two options that are presented, in those higher tiers, increase that percentage to promote conservation?
I would say, I can speak, what I would say about that is, if we want to look at that, I'd be in favor of doing what I suggested for tonight, and then possibly having staff do some additional work to see, if you would say, let's increase the final tier for the final 2 tiers, then take that up as a future
Well,
consideration.
I'm not talking about the final 2 on this chart right here. I'm talking about the ones way on up there, the 40, 50,000 gallon users.
I'm just
The
saying-
tiers stop at 10, so it's 1, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and anything over 10 is the third tier.
I'm saying because this
You've
is,
got 11, 12.
I'm saying we can take that up at a future meeting.
Correct. There's gallonages used all the way out to 12,000, but the tiers, there's only 3 tiers. And those tiers aren't necessarily the same between every user. Ours are 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 and above. Some of them are 0 to 3, 3 to 7, and then 7 and above. So
And we
different.
needed additional input and study on that, I feel like, as well.
So there's different. Everybody's mandated to use the tier system. However, what those tiers are can vary depending on the gallonage in each one.
Or if you wanted to do that, you could add a tier level of anything over what is the normal, anywhere from 10 to
Create a tier of 15.
I'll back it
Do 10 to 15, and then 4 tier 15 up to do what you're saying to really make the increase coming back. The luxury water.
I'm not,
City ranking is more,
I'm not necessarily opposed to looking at something that would help with conservation at the highest level like that. I just don't think tonight is we have the answer.
I don't think we're going to get it all worked out.
Well, and we do have a spreadsheet that we can use numbers, we can't plug that in there because it wasn't built that way to have an additional tier. So I can't give you tonight that answer what that bill would be under that scenario.
What is the deposit for option 1, or is that outside of option 1?
The deposit will just need to be another item that you need to address in the motion.
They did option 1 with like 16 cent, and then they asked for other input, which I plan on making in my motion. The things I mentioned, we could include the deposit and the base rate, loan and late fees.
Do we have a different, pre-May 6th, do we have a differential between renter and owner?
Yes.
I believe so.
So 125 versus 150.
125 versus 150.
And if I remember correctly, it's a $100 deposit and $25 admin fee.
The ladies would just be able to forget about that, but for simplicity,
Yeah,
there's so much to do, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've talked with single mother or two in there, and, you know, they're struggling with it, $250.
Well, I asked the question, and was told that we're not really sure, so, and maybe legal counsel would know, but I don't even know if there might be a fair housing, thing that would cover if you can't charge others differently, and we may not be aware of it. So that's something we have to look into, I think, too. But for tonight's sake, instead of go back and then any little pieces that we have to pick up, we can pick up. And we can give citizens notice that we're considering them, and then they can have input.
Any other input on this?
We're all usually pretty sharp. I don't know how we didn't catch this.
I feel we're still the same way.
Yes.
Well, without, some of this that we asked for was on it. Had we had this information originally, it would have been more helpful. And I do think we learned some lessons on how to do it better so that this won't occur in the future.
All right, any other input?
Well, there's no further discussion, and we've got a little time. Is there any appetite for irrigation meters that we need to direct staff for, still swimming pool policies?
And I would like to take those things and put them on future agendas.
Well, I completely agree. My question is, do you have any input that you'd like to provide us to say something, do that, don't investigate, do investigate, bring back?
Why? What was the reason for not having irrigation units? You know, we talked about it. I mean, wasn't there some discussion about had a problem with people tying potable water in to irrigation units?
I don't know, if Mr. Leon does it, I don't know, that predated most of us either.
Is that correct, Steve? I mean, we got 20 minutes, we got a workshop.
Yes, sir. I got other things to do.
Yeah, we got some other back on one.
You don't want anything?
Unless you don't want to be here on that.
We'll consider those things and bring them back to you later.
Yeah. I think there are several items that we're going to need to tweak, but like Mr. Jones said, let's deal with the important stuff tonight. All right, let's get some committee reports out of the way since we're going to be here till 2 o'clock in the morning anyhow. So
You want me to go first?
go ahead.
Y'all have your sheet?
I don't think so. They don't have that. You can start off getting
Sheriff's Office updates, those are attached as normal. Don't read those at your leisure. Blue Jay and McCall roads, that should be nearly completed this morning. They should be finished with the asphalt, and Blue Jay and McCall has been done. Public Works is, y'all may or may not be aware, we're actually backing up the shoulders, filling them back up the top of asphalt. That's not in the contract. That is ongoing. We're trying to stay followed up with them.
What's the time frame for getting those asphalt ramps on driveways and roads? Do we know yet?
We had that conversation with them last week and finally came to a clear understanding that that was included in their contract. And they were told post haste would be sooner than better, because the contract actually said it would be done at the time of payment, not afterwards like they've done. So we told them we were a little disappointed in the timing, and they asked them to hurry up. So quite honestly, I defer. Jerry takes care of most of the inspection side. I really have to ask him. I've been out there twice. It's honest truth. I do know that it is in their contract. They said they would do it, and they said they would do it quickly. So I'm hoping this week or the next. But it is an issue. There's no doubt. But that's the last thing that'll be taken care of. On our Ash Road repairs, construction is pretty much complete on that, on the 16 original roads that we had with the ads that we did. And I apologize, I forgot to get the actual roads that we added. I will bring that to y'all to tell you which ones we actually did. We've actually put an RFQB, I'm trying to think how we did, I guess it's a bid, out for the next round of those. That is due on July 17th this week. We hope to have that for you on August 5th. That's approximately the same amount of roads again, at least in dollar figures. Bunyan Kessler, that has been completed, the repairs to that road, and that's the one that we came in and did the reclamation, put the rock above it, and then paved back on top of it, the hot mix asphalt.
Are you aware that they actually had the road blocked?
Yes, sir. Yes. And complete. The road continues to be blocked because Public Works was gonna do those shoulders too. They're trying to catch up on the other ones. If they can't get there pretty soon, they were supposed to get there first of this week, and I haven't been to see if they did, quite honestly. If they can't, we'll go ahead and pull the barricades out. We just have a 6.5 inch drop off, so we're trying to build them prior to them doing it, save on traffic control. 0 Hour Road was supposed to begin today. Again, I have not been out there to see, but I was told by the contractor last week that they were scheduled to start today. So if not, they should be fairly soon behind on that one. Also, it's the same remedy, if you will, of Onion Kessler. The disaster relief stuff is still forthcoming. Gateway Behavioral Health, I leave on there just as a reminder at some point. They're going to be asking for nominations if y'all think of anybody. Binary Bus, we continue to seek alternatives. The most recent, we're trying to see if we can host it internally. There's some things that, you see it all here. Dwayne Reed won't hear that they're trying to get on our internal servers that we can host the service ourselves. So that's one of the things we're trying out for that particular service to maintain functional. Courthouse Road Extension, we had a public information open house on June the 26th. There were probably 30 or so people in attendance. We got a lot of good feedback out of that. The engineers are now incorporating that feedback into the plans. We're trying to make some changes based on the comments that we're receiving. Once those changes have been put in place, we will hold another meeting to try to get back in front of people to move that project along. Hodgeville Road wet well repairs is a project that this board approved on May the 20th to basically realign a manhole or receiving manhole for a lift station on Hodgeville Road. Once that work began, the contractors got in, and our folks have been in there too to verify this. That manhole is beyond repair. The concrete structure itself is crumbling and decaying to the point that we're scared to even walk around it at this point. We have been provided with a change order from E&D, who was the contractor selected to do the original work, for $32,640 additional dollars to the actual price. So the question that we have for y'all is, do y'all feel comfortable issuing a change order on that work, or do you want to go back out to bid since the scope has changed?
When we bid it, how many people responded?
You remember? 3.
This is
Personally, I think it needs to be rebid.
You would probably have different.
The scope has changed completely. Obviously, we reveal numbers at this point, but it's a completely different project, so I think it's okay. Timing is not a major issue. We were trying to do this before school started back and the flows picked up. When they were relining at this point, they'll have to bypass pump everything anyhow. So I can stop them, correct, but I don't think timing is a major issue now because of the increased flows and like bypass pump anyhow.
With that much change, that's a whole different job. I think it needs to be rebid. Anybody disagree with that?
I understand y'all is 4 times what the original was, too. It's not the opposite.
Make that way.
Gotcha. I got you. What Steve was just saying, we're still going to coat the wet well itself. The wet well is okay with the receiving manhole, so the rebuild will be for that, but we will still allow E&D to go do it as scheduled.
Gotcha.
For clarity. So we'll get that out, I think, if you want to see it or not. I think Steve's provided all the information. They're ready to put it on the street tomorrow, basically. So we'll go ahead and get that back out the bid. State Route 21 and 995, the Virgin Diamond is coming up there. And this has nothing to do with Georgia Department of Transportation. It's holding a public information open house August the 12th from 5 to 7. It'll be at the Georgia Tech Savannah campus to discuss all the improvements. It's basically from 30 back up and including the Virgin Diamond. And they're supposed to have all the models so the cars changing color, how you get on the wrong side of the road, and also it's proved to be a fun night. Anybody's free to come out. Governor's High Demand Career Initiative. I did not write the dates down on this sheet because there were 8 of them. Each one was a different date and time. There's 8 remaining meetings scheduled across the state. If anybody's interested in attending one of those, it didn't look like any more tremendously close to us, but the actual dates and times should be in your package up there. So if y'all want to get the car and travel for that. 2014 legislative session, legislation that impacts counties. ACCG put together a list of legislation passed in the last legislative session that has an impact directly to counties. That list again should be included in your documentation. I can review it and take it here. And I'm going to skip past 15 and circle back. Number 16, Georgia County Economic Development. Each fall, there's a 4-day class offered, and it's done by different disciplines that come together to offer this class, 4 or 6 of them. They'll put it on, and in Region 12, which is our CRC Region 12, the 10 counties that we're a part of, they hold that each fall. So 4-day classes, 1 day each month, and the classes are from 8 to 4, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They'll be held August, September, October, and December this year. If anybody's interested in Park has information, you need to sign up on that. The 2014 State of the Port Address will be held on a Thursday, September 25th, at the Savannah International Trading Convention Center. There's a reception begins at 10:30 with the actual luncheon and the State of the Port Address happening from 11:45 to 1:30. If y'all want to go to that, she can get you set up, register with tickets. Happy to do so. To go back to the enterprise content document management, y'all may or not recall, this is something that's been on the short-term work program for several years. It's a platform to which we can begin to do just what it says, content document management. It's archival, retrieval, document workflow processes, all those things. It's in the short-term work program at $150,000. We have bid that. We got 11 proposals. They range from $110,000 to $512,000 for those services. Part of the problem is everybody has a newer, better, different thing to offer in their particular services. Many of them are proprietary, so they offer different things, is why there's such a different range. What staff is seeking the direction of the board at this point is going forward. Several pieces are needed: annual licenses, continued maintenance, all of which necessitate future funds in addition to whatever we get into that particular program at. Right now, we probably don't have as clear a handle as we should on what we really want this system to do internally with our own processes and workflows. We're seeking the advice of the board whether you would like to continue forward with this, or just basically cancel this particular project and use those funds to improve existing infrastructure within the county. And what I will say is we have a short-term work program within the short-term work program that breaks down computer needs, and we have a lot of aging computers. We probably are underfunded in that category. We probably have more of a need there, in my opinion, than we do in this document management system. I don't know that IT feels any differently. They asked for this input. So I would say from my standpoint, I would be perfectly comfortable with abandoning this project and moving on to other things that seem to be more prudent now until in the future. And there's some internal things that we're going to work on, I hope, with BPS and some of our building permit systems and licensing systems, that we can get an external interface and become more customer friendly, but this doesn't even address. Is there any opinion one way or the other from the board?
I think that would be money better spent that direction.
Okay. So barring any objection from anyone, that's what we're going to do. One that I did not put on your list, I thought about it late, I do apologize. An issue arose recently on Cletus Canal Road with fire protection. And to make this as short as I can, this is basically another situation where if this particular person, and it only will affect one person, we can't get in mass, but this one particular person, when they went to renew their insurance, went from I believe there was 4 to a 10. It's just a matter of the insurance company catching it. We didn't move a station, their house didn't move. But we do have the opportunity. They are not within 5 miles of a Berryville station, which is where they are. Their district, if you will, they're in Effingham County District. Both Springfield and Rankin's Station 3, I believe, and Rankin's Springfield Station is within 5 miles of the structure. If we change their station the same way that we did on Goshen Road, we could lower them from a 10 to a 9 immediately. And if we put them in Rankin's district and can find a water source that we can certify within 6,000 feet, it will go to a 4. So we've had some conversation with the fire department. Obviously, later on your agenda is an ISO consultant that we staff have been kind of holding off on to make sure that our station placement does what we do. We're very well aware of the fact that a station needs to be either relocated or created new here to cover Cletus Canal and Benjamin Canal Road. This is one of the larger holes that we have. And obviously, that's the long-term solution. In the short term, if the board so chooses, we can do an agreement with one of the two, basically changing the call box at 911 to get that service. So we don't have to have an answer tonight, I'm just making you all aware of that particular fact. Commissioner Roper and I have been discussing this, and it's also his district, and